New studies are showing that Call of Duty is making kids more violent.
Well, there's a lot of variables that go into that. There's also many other first-person shooter games and gun violence games that's going on. But it appears that since the recent rise in kids playing Call of Duty, there's been more school shootings.
Well, it's easy to see. You know, you have Call of Duty, you have these kids yelling at each other, screaming at each other, doing unspeakable things to each other in this virtual world. You would think that the line between reality and the game would be blurred, wouldn't you?
Yes, I do. And even the military, they're encouraging this. They're saying that kids who play Call of Duty typically do better in their basic training. And this is not good. The government.
It's horrible. It's horrible. The government needs to have... You know what the government should do? The government should create a system in place where they can rank games based on how violent they are and suggest parents to not buy the games for their kid if it's too violent.
Exactly. It's not like there's even a rating system for the games there is right now.
No. And now you have games like Grand Theft Auto where they give the player, you, a lot of money, and instead of giving you proper instructions on how to spend it responsibly, like investing for your future, saving for college, you know, helping out with things, no, they just say, you know, go buy whatever you want, buy this car, this house, whatever, and it really teaches irresponsible spending in addition to all the violence.
Exactly, and all the violence is not justified because the way that you get this money is you're killing people, selling drugs, alcohol, stealing from the military.
It's despicable.
Exactly. All this money you're using, like you said, on cars, even hookers and prostitution. Just all this horrible, horrible things that you could be doing. And when you could be spending all this money on, like you said, investing in college.
Exactly. So if you want your kids to be safe and you want your kids to grow up well, don't let them play video games.
Even Sudoku, like on your phone.
No, horrible for you, horrible.
All right, now we have our food expert here today to talk with us about different foods that can either help you or extremely harm you.
Well, did you know that Kraft macaroni and cheese, you know, the powdered cheese, has carcinogens? It just gives our children cancer.
Oh my goodness.
It's just what you grew up on, what everyone grows up on, mac and cheese, you know, just that feeling of home is more like that feeling of cancer.
Oh my. There's just so many foods out there. What other foods can be harmful that people eat every day?
Ramen noodles, though, like you're sticking that in the microwave with the styrofoam, plastic, radiation, cancer. Just leaving your bottles of water in the car, heat, plastic, also cancer. Just sadly, the government is slowly killing us off.
Oh my. I also heard in other news that somehow they found out that Twinkies can make you immortal if you eat enough of them. Is that true?
Well, yes. There are things that are immortal, such as lobster, actually. They're actually immortal. If you eat enough of that, you'll also become immortal. Unless something eats them, they don't die, so that's just a fact.
Here's just a theoretical situation. If you eat lobster, but it's in Kraft macaroni and cheese, would you get the cancer?
Yes, but it wouldn't be like, deadly. You just live forever with cancer, which is fine.
That's just horrible. So you heard it first. Macaroni and cheese, all these different noodle products that you just put in your microwave, they're going to give you cancer and you will die.
You will die.
You know, another thing to consider, it's very harmful for our children to have all of these technological advancements in our home. You know, we live with them every day and we see how great they can be, but have we ever really thought about how destructive they are to our children?
Exactly. All these different electronics, especially smartphones, they emit these radioactive waves that go to the cell towers that allow us to talk and communicate and give us our data. But when you have it up to your face and around you for so much, it's very harmful to your brain and your body.
I mean, you think about radiation, the same kind of radiation that's in microwaves. I mean, you put your leftover food in the microwave, you put it in the microwave, sounds like Vietnam, you know? You don't want your brain to be like Vietnam, of course not. Why would you want that kind of stuff going on in your brain if some people are even afraid of having it in their food. I mean, you think about what the radiation can do. Why would you want your kids exposed to that?
Exactly. And not just the radiation is what's harmful. These bright screens, LED screens on these phones, are causing horrible eye problems and causing children to start having more glasses, even causes them to go blind.
I mean, people millions of years ago didn't have glasses, and look where we are now. We still fully evolved. So, but you know what they didn't have millions of years ago? They didn't have these TVs. They didn't have the computers, the monitors, the cell phones. It's a new technology for a very new problem.
Exactly. And all this radiation, it's causing so much damage just to this new generation that we have. Just blindness, autism has been a very big increase because of how much radiation that's going through these kids.
It's the radiation, it's the cell phones, it's the screens. You know, if you want your kids to be safe and you want them to live long and healthy lives, you should seriously consider doing the right thing as a parent and getting rid of all new technological advances in your home. In other news, Jimmy Kimmel has recently announced his very extreme opposition toward guns. And me personally, I think that's a very noble thing that he would be willing to give up his armed security.
It really is a noble thing. Just his many, many bodyguards he keeps around just for protection. He's just willing to give them up because of all these horrible gun violence going on and all these people that are just making so many threats.
I mean, what a wise man. He sees all these gun violences happening, and what wiser of a man to think, you know, I got all these armed bodyguards protecting my life, but you know, what if one of these guys turns, right? Who knows what they could do? Like, just what a noble thing for him to give up his own personal protection in the name for that.
Exactly. Just in the name of what he believes in.
I mean, who of all people, other than Jimmy Kimmel, a very famous and very sought-after target for what I would imagine to be many people with all these kids playing Call of Duty and everything. I mean, you would think a man like that would need that kind of protection. Very noble of him to give it up.
It really is. And also talking on the subject of guns, there's been a lot of controversy on hunting with rifles and just the outright slaughter of animals out in the wild.
You know, I think about the same thing, too, all the time. What person in his right mind thinks that he can go to a store and buy some big 50 BMG rifle and try to go hunt a deer with it? Like, do you want to see Bambi out there just take a half-inch right through the head? What a despicable warlike scene.
What are they trying to put in the heads of our children nowadays? Why can't they just be like the farms that we have out there for all of our livestock? Just nice, get a whole bunch of them there, raise them, and just make them into lunch meat.
Really, when you think about why we need hunting, I always come back to the conclusion, why can't you just go to the supermarket and buy the meat you need? There's really no need for hunting.
Exactly. It's just the unnecessary slaughter of animals.
Yeah, this unnecessary slaughter when you go hunting. But I mean, you think about the conditions that these farm animals are kept in. You know, they're on their little farm with the old man, you know, plowing the hay and everything. It's a very beautiful scene and a very comforting, much in contrast to hunting Bambi with a big rifle.
It's a lot pleasanter of a scene, I have to tell you.
I agree fully. So there's this new artist called Kendrick Lamar. Is it Lamar? I think it's
Kendrick
Lamar. He's creating new controversy in his new song Swimming Pools, where he has a line that says, "First you get a swimming pool of liquor, then you dive in it. Pool full of liquor, then you dive in it." I mean, what is this? It's creating it's just advocating alcoholism in its target audience, which is obviously little kids.
Little kids.
I mean,
diving in liquor. What?
What record label could push this kind of agenda of
onto the children?
The children. The children should never be listening to music about swimming in liquor. Who could possibly think that's even like good music anyway?
What is the government doing?
I mean, you think that's bad? Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this new guy, Lil Pump?
Oh, Lil.
He's Lil Pump. He's creating arguably even more controversy. He's the writer to a song. I believe it's called Gookie Gang.
Yes, Goofy.
And in the song, in the music video, he's walking around with drugs, with dangerous animals. You gotta see this. This is some bad stuff. Think of the influence this is having on our children.
All the kids are just Lil Pump here, Lil Pump that. That's all they want. Just drugs and alcohol and rap. That's the root of all evil.
I mean, I can't think of a world that I would want to live in where little kids are going around saying Gookie Gang, Gookie Gang. I mean, what is this nonsense?
They just think they're cool because that's what all the latest rappers are saying.
I mean, there's this one picture of Mr. Gookie Gang himself holding a rifle, facing himself.
Right to his mouth, right just...
What kind of image do you think that's giving to our children? I mean, do you really want... If you think about the problems that there are with these kids, I mean, you think poverty, you think low economic opportunity, all of these bad things. And you know who I think's to blame for all this? Lil Pump.
Lil Pump.
I think all this rap is having a very detrimental effect on today's youth in our inner cities.
All the problems that we already have, like guns and drugs, it just... rap supports all of it.
Supports all of it.
It's fueling our young children.
It truly is the reason why we can't have a safe society today.
It's all rap. Just all these guns, drugs, alcohol, Googie Gang.
And that's all for today.
That's all.
But come